Hi, I'm Super Moon Tarot, and before I start this video, I just wanted to say I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're filled with good vibes and inspiration and passion for life and all that good jazz. Today's video is going to be asking the question, what do people admire about you? This is a really cool one because this encompasses ideas like attraction, but also respect. So this is about partners, romantic partners being into you. This is about friendship. This is what people, want out of you when they are, maybe they see you as a leader, or they feel that you have something wonderful to offer. If they got to know you, whatever it is, the variety is there, the gamut is there, and I welcome all of it. And I hope you do too. As you can see, we have 4 groups in front of us. Pick whatever group resonates with you most. I'm going to give you a moment to do that. Now that you have, you can go down to the description where you can go to the marked timestamp for your designated group and skip to that group. But let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's find out, what do people admire about you? Let's look at your cards. Your oracle card is Home in Reverse. Your tarot cards are Queen of Wands upright, 7 of Cups upright, Queen of Swords in reverse. Oh, the Sun card. This is such a happy card. And your last card is, okay, Queen of Wands, double confirmation. I know who I'm talking to. Oh, I love the Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands is somebody secretly and subconsciously most of us wish we could be, because she is super dynamic and has all this energy and charisma. I have a lot to say about her, and obviously, clearly I do, with it being double confirmed here. But before we get into that, one of the things I want to point out first that people admire about you is your decisiveness, but specifically your decisiveness when it comes to making difficult decisions and facing hard facts. So over here in the oracle card, Home in Reverse, this is talking about the concept of home, but the concept of home can either be a location or a state of mind. Wherever you are, where your brain is able to regroup and rejuvenate, and you kind of have a place, your little safe zone, so to speak. But when it's in reverse, it's saying that something's wrong in that little personal space, whether that be an outside influence, maybe you're going through a transition, whatever it is. And you're going to need to ask the tough questions of, why don't you feel at home? What is wrong here? But the thing is, if somebody doesn't have a home, they're already pretty fragile to begin with. And then to ask those sort of difficult questions of themselves is to put themselves in a deeper, more fragile state. So of course, a lot of people have reluctance, but you understand that it's important to just face these things head on in order to improve, self-improve specifically, because the Queen of Wands is all about self-improvement, but she is somebody who's already gone through a decent amount of her journey. So it's not like life's over for her. She's still going to continue to improve and do well, but she has gained enough experience already that people, she is the manifestation of what people admire to, being like, oh, I could be like that one day. Look, she went and took the time to do X, Y, and Z, and this is what it equals. Wow, isn't that so cool? So we talk about self-improvement here. Over here, we have the 7 of Cups pairing with the Queen of Wands. So 7 of Cups talks about options. Now, the cool thing about options here is that means a variety of things in your case. With the Queen of Wands repeating here twice, it definitely does talk about because the Queen of Wands is about somebody who's very physically attractive. So yes, you are a cutie, but you also attract a lot of other cuties. You have a lot of options in your dating pool around you. A lot of people admire you from a distance and are aware of you and let you know they're into you. But these options also pop up for a lot of other things, because the Queen of Wands is very magnetic in her general energy. People just want to be around her and kind of reap the benefit of what she's personally experiencing and putting out there. So a lot of opportunities come your way naturally through career, through just like hanging out with friend groups. So a lot of people kind of want to be in your orbit in order to also benefit from all your different options. You're going to show them new things they'll never experience on their own, because they, most of us tend to kind of be like this one type of person, and we attract maybe this one other type of person. Do you see what I'm saying? But you've got a whole pool to choose from. And yet, with all these beautiful options being a defining, admirable trait about you as is, we have the Queen of Swords in over here facing this. See, the Queen of Swords, and she's not being read in this case in reverse, she's being read as in she's facing that, she's making decisions, is somebody who has a lot of honesty when approaching a situation. They're honest, they're decisive, and they feel they do not need to shield people from the truth or themselves from the truth out of respect and understanding that it's better to be kind of straightforward in order to, again, progress. Self-improvement, progression, that's like a common trait you're going to hear over and over again that people really like about you. So even though you have all this like fun and versatility to you and the thing and options around you, you're still going to make the best decision for yourself, for others. Queen of Wands is also about her community. A lot of people, like she cares about her community, but a lot of her community cares about her because of her giving nature, because of how she benefits everyone, even just by existing. So like I said, a lot of great things, as you can see, with the Queen of Wands. I also want to mention, before I dive a little more deeper into the Queen of Wands, is about the Sun card. This is such a cute, happy card. This is just really heightened optimism. This is a very happy card. I often get this card when people tend to be prone to humor and silliness. Not in the fool kind of way where it's like free-spirited, just like you love to laugh, you love to have a good time, you're very just happy and positive vibes. You know when people say you have good vibes? You have good vibes. That's what the Sun card talks about. Many people definitely interpret this as like an inner light that is flowing and pouring out of you. People are just, some people just, I can't explain it, but they just have something about them, this inner illumination that people just pick up on. It's just something special about them, and it can only be singularly defined as an inner light or glow. You've got that. I mean, that just keeps getting repeated here, here, here. Trust me, you've got it. It's let it shine. Let it shine. So let's talk about the Queen of Wands. She is amazing. She is a passionate. As we talked about, she's very charismatic. She just has this really intense, booming energy. But the thing I think that I personally love about her, and the reason why a lot of other people do too, is she's not somebody that is just amazing as a singular being for these various reasons, but she's also proactive. So she's very smart and has a lot of ideas as to how to get things done. So she's very like inspiring, lots of, like, as you can see, a lot of like energy. She really fills people up with that sort of like, yeah, we can do it. But if she sees other people aren't able to accomplish the things that need to be get done, she'll do it herself. So she genuinely cares about the well-being of others and is not afraid to get her own hands dirty in order to make it happen. So people can respect her on like a one-on-one level and yet admire her as if she is above them. So this duality only pulls them in even more. Can I say enough good things? Like I said, Queen of Wands is like the bee's knees, and I'm so happy you got her double confirmation twice. This is a very strong thing we're picking up from you. She's productive. She gives great advice. She's super insightful and empathetic, and she's got tons of ideas, and she's very like visionary, so to speak. So overall, you're pretty freaking cool, especially with so many queens. You have a very strong feminine energy. Doesn't matter whatever gender you are. You have a very strong feminine energy, but a feminine energy that's very intense. Like feminine energy and male energy is not purely defined by gentleness or like aggression. They both have almost a subcategory within that. You're like the really intense version. You're like an Amazon woman, so to speak, running into battle, and everyone likes you. They trust you. They think that you're pretty great. You're able to help others. You help yourself. You're always this feeling of movement forward, and not just movement forward, but I want to point out that Sometimes people are always constantly in transit, which can over time get tiring for peers around them because it just feels like nothing, they're not actually progressing, so to speak. Not you. You have this beautiful combination of feeling like you're always moving forward and you're allowing other people to kind of hitch a ride and enjoy and benefit that with you. But there's a lot of like in the moment enjoying what you've actually worked hard for. So it's like this feeling of there's always something new to look forward to in the future, but we also sometimes slow down and enjoy what we've accomplished thus far. So you're kind of like this amazing being that like little, like, think of yourself as like, this is going to be a terrible analogy. You know those hippos that have the birds on them that are like cleaning off and they're benefiting like a mutualistic relationship like in the animal kingdom? You could say this about any sort of animal pairing. Well, you're the amazing hippo. It's a good thing. I love hippos personally. They were my favorite animals for like my entire life. And everybody else is the bird who gets to enjoy hitching a ride with you. So hopefully that made sense and that wasn't too repetitive and rambly. I just wanted to make the point clear how cool you are, because who doesn't love to hear that? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this reading as much as I enjoyed reading it. Feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on this video. It helps out like you would not believe. But either way, have a wonderful day. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Let's get ready for group number 2. Group number 2. Let's find out, what do people admire about you? Let's look at your cards. Your oracle card is Into the Unknown. Ooh, upright. Your tarot cards are 7 of Swords in reverse, Ace of Wands in reverse, 3 of Wands in reverse, 3 of Swords upright. Wow. Wow. Okay. And your last card is Strength upright. Or is it your last card? I'm gonna, I feel compelled to pull one more card. 4 of Cups in reverse. This is so interesting. This is such a joy to read. So normally when, we look for traits that are really awesome about people, what we normally like about other people, it's usually this sense of charisma, there's some sort of leadership, there's just like a general form of like confidence. These are common things that you hear, and you are on a whole different plane, an astral plane, because there's just something unique and special about your traits that people admire so much. In fact, actually, when people do notice these things about you and like these things about you, they themselves are surprised. You're kind of the thing people didn't know they wanted, and then they realize it's exactly what they needed. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So I'm trying to give the highest compliment possible. So let's talk about over here and Into the Unknown. This is actually a pretty defining quality, I think, kind of sprinkles over into a lot of the other cards. So first off, it talks about your open-mindedness to the unexplainable, to the unknown. We're talking about things like spirituality, but we're talking about kind of unexplainable sort of, do you watch the Travel Channel? Do you know what I'm talking about? like you're very open-minded to what we might not even think is real. And there's a certain wonderful quality in your whimsy, in your pursuit of knowledge, because you believe that maybe the thing that is the answer to everything that you need or what others need isn't going to come in a tightly neat wrapped package. Maybe we need to have to push ourselves and go into kind of the unknown and just kind of take that risk because it's worth taking. But this idea gets extended upon much more deeper, and this is really cool. I love this actually personally about you. This is a very relatable quality. So you're somebody who's walking forward, but you're blindfolded and you're unable to know if the next step you take is going to be off a ledge or is going to be further down your path. And yet you still take that risk. And you do have fear. This card is about having fear and yet still trusting and choosing to move forward. So people can admire and be like, wow, you're so brave. You always seem to kind of move forward into decisions, even though there isn't a complete solidarity of being like, yep, that's the right decision. You still take that leap. And yet you are not completely fearless. You are anxious, you are afraid, so people can go, wow, they're still afraid and anxious, and yet they made that choice, and yet they're still pushing forward, especially without solid answers that it's the right one. Wow, I can relate to that. I can admire that on a human level. Maybe if they can do it, I can do it too. So just by you living your life, there's a lot of inspiration you give off, which is really beautiful. But your specific pursuit into that kind of unknown territory extends people in a path they would never normally extend on their own, because you're definitely somebody who thinks outside the box. You see what I'm saying? Now, that continues on over here in the Seven of Swords in reverse. This is so cool. This talks about your desire to share this with other people, this mentality. You want to make the unknown and these unusual things you're experiencing, or this kind of juxtaposition of duality between fear and trust and so on and so forth, as we were talking about over here, known to others. You want to be straightforward. You want to share your methods and you're trying to understand it and have other people get it too. This is not only out of your love and desire to talk about it, because it's fun to talk about these things, but you genuinely like seeing people benefit and from this knowledge as well. So there's a very loving, generous sort of quality going on there. But people admire your ability to sort of decode the inexplainable and then share it. They love that. A lot of people don't want to share that type of stuff, but you do not have a problem with that. So that in itself is an admirable quality. But the big one is the decoding it and then being able to make it understandable. So again, very, very cool. Now over here is this sort of, I feel like passion is a very limited word. I wish I had a better vocabulary to express this concept that Spirit is actually intensely making me feel right now. I can feel my, sometimes when Spirit makes me feel things, I'll vibrate and it's very intense. So what I'm using the word passion is such a small word for such a big concept going on here. So you're somebody who is driven by passion. And this talks about the good quality of it being the thing that helps you make things happen, but also in the bad way where if you don't want to do it, nothing seems to work out. And yet both this, working out in your favor and not, are both a beneficial quality that again inspires other people. And they just love, and they feel, you kind of ask the question in life of, why would I do anything if it wasn't completely what I would want to do? Why would I waste a moment doing anything else? And you kind of pull people out of their zombie mode of going to their cubicle every day where they're like, yeah, what am I doing? Why shouldn't I want to ask for more out of life? So the Three of Wands talks about the ability to kind of connect to others. And we're talking about connecting as in finding the right clients that can help your business do well, sharing concepts with other people, and then other people expanding off of those concepts. So it's like this connection that builds the potential of something else. So when you're really feeling it, and you're really into this concept or idea you want to happen, you're just infectious. Everybody else just gets sucked into you and what you have to offer. And they're like, yeah, me too. And they see all this passion actually delivers and gets other things. This connection that you experience, when everything seems to be going right, when you're really into the project you're doing, it's because of this energy you're putting out. That's why everything's connecting. And everyone else gets caught up in it too. They start asking themselves, like I said before, about their own life, what they want to do. They want to jump onto your project. You are just so sorry. You are just infectious is the best word to say, and inspiring. But when things aren't, your cup of tea and you're not liking it, it's just a total 180. It just seems like nothing seems to be working out. The more you could care less, the more things seem to just not pan out. And people see that and they notice that. But again, even by you rejecting things or things not working out, you're still always asking the question, whether it's good or bad, of, if I don't really want to do this, then what's the point? And that's a question, again, I know that seems super straightforward and simple, but most people in their pursuit to survive in life and just, get a job and earn money and pay the bills and take care of their family and themselves, it's understandable we stop asking ourselves those questions and just try to do whatever's the easiest thing in that moment. And you're always kind of, again, outside of the box thinking. You're knocking from the outside on the box going, hello, wake up, there's other stuff out here. Just by you constantly living your life. And that is a beautiful, very expansive sort of energy. Like I said, as you can tell from what I'm describing, it's so hard to just simply describe it as passion. So it's much bigger than that. Now, this is a very interesting situation we got going on over here that I love. Because this talks again about even quote unquote bad things being extremely inspiring and helpful for others. Even if it's so when you're not feeling your best, you're still always doing the best for other people. And how can people not find that extremely admirable? It's you can do no wrong. You're always unintentionally a wizard or, a fairy. There's just something very magical about you because you can do no wrong. So the Three of Swords talks about this idea of your measurement of feelings. So when things don't go well for you, it is very deep. It is extreme. You are not over dramatic. You just really understand the depths of when something doesn't work out, but you also understand the depths of when something does. So you're able to experience love and friendship and wonderful experiences in life to such a deep level, again, that it kind of leaks over into other people's energy and worlds, and you kind of make them feel like they're living in a movie when you're really feeling that moment, which is why when people love you, they really get something special out of that experience compared to other people. But then when things don't go right, you're able to experience a deep, intense level of empathy. Now that concept gets extended even more over here when we have this going on. So in the Three of Swords, when people are trying to relate to others and saying well, how would you know, why should I follow you? Whether this be a leadership sort of energy or bonding with people, you're able to say to them, oh, I know, I've been there. Many people aren't able to connect to one another because there's a certain door they close on one another because they're listen, you seem like a nice person and you're trying to help me, but I don't want to hear what you have to say unless you know what I've gone through. I'm sorry, but your words mean nothing unless you understand. And you really get it. You've been through your own version of it, your own story, but you are able to touch their heart in a way that most people can't because of what you've been through. But then simultaneously, there's this form of education you teach them. Again, you just living your life really helps and is a sort of relatability factor, which is why people admire you so much for this. The Strength card, we can see this as our positive, a total 180. You're feeling great. You're feeling confident in yourself. And the Four of Cups talks about getting out of this bad mood, this painful experience. Well, you're someone that goes, you know what? Sometimes when I'm not feeling great, I just give in to those emotions completely. I just feel it. I feel the pain. And by kind of diving again into the unknown, diving deeper into the pain, I'm able to fully experience it, fully let it go, and then am able to move on. And that's how I move on. I know that seems like a weird, admirable quality, but you are able to connect to the people that have not been able to connect to anyone else. You teach them to stop shying away from their emotions. You teach people to stop shying away from the unknown. You like to dive head first into an ocean full of sharks, but you don't even know it. You're having a great time just learning things, feeling passionate about life, but it is extremely helpful in ways you might never even know, because these are not the type of people that are going to go up to you all the time and say, do you know how much that meant to me? Just by you teaching me what you've been through. I didn't know I was supposed to face the pain. I didn't know I was supposed to dive deeper in order to get out. Now, the last card over here is the Strength card. Yes, this does talk about how physically attractive you are. You are a hottie. But this, interestingly enough, talks about empowerment through the body. So now I don't see enough cards here to say singularly you are somebody who's defined by their health and exercise. And again, this is a general reading, so that isn't always the case for everybody else. But the strength card does let us know that when you give attention to your body and you want to exercise and eat healthy, there is a level where, how do I explain this? It's kind of like, you know, when somebody seems a little extra cooler than someone else when they do the same activity. This is the same concept of like maybe you buy a toy or something like that, or a prize, and then somebody else gets that prize. And then essentially you're like, I know we have the same prize, but they made it look so much cooler and it seems like it has so many more infinite possibilities. When you give into that sort of mental sort of mindset and give attention to your body in that way, there's a certain confidence you exude that sort of inspires other people to want to get fit too and see all the benefits and start feeling more connected to the earth and themselves and others. And like I said, there's just something about you that just by you living your life kind of leaks over into other people. So it's really crazy, really beautiful. Like I said, you're a very interesting soul, and I'm so happy I could connect to you. Hello. If you enjoyed this reading, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Either way, have a wonderful day. I can't wait to talk to you in the next one, and let's get ready for group number 3. Group number 3. Let's find out, what do people admire about you? Let's look at your cards. Your oracle card is Spirit of Place Upright. This is a very unique card. Wow, this is so interesting. Okay, well, we'll get to that in a second. Let me not get ahead of myself. Let me look at the tarot cards, which are Queen of Cups upright, Two of Swords upright, Seven of Wands upright, the High Priestess upright, and your final card is King of Swords upright. Wow. You're kind of like the witch or wizard that lives on like the edge of a mountain outside of town, and people always come to you for your like wisdom and whatever advice you have to give. You're what I would describe as, this is like a term I have specifically like made up, which is a secret leader. These are the type of people that have no intention of leading, and yet they are able to see the bigger picture. They're very smart, they're very insightful, and without ever having done anything to prove their qualifications, people just seem to kind of be drawn to you. They just want to tell you their hopes and fears and want to know what you think they should do, and you often are happy to give counsel, and there's a sort of kind of like your ability to stand on your own and not follow the masses. This would definitely give a lot of explanation why, if you ever feel this sense of like loneliness, because you just are able to give to everybody else, but you don't feel like you're able to get the same kind of response back from other people. It's not because other people can't give it because of selfishness. It's just, I think you're not realizing how terribly unique you are. This also is an explanation if you've ever had like a boss, like, and we're talking about the type of the not nice kind that are just really for whatever reason like picking on you, and they seem irrationally angry at you. It's because they can subconsciously feel how much everybody else respects and admires you in comparison of them. So it's like you're the unintentional boss, and that it like intimidates them. Again, secret leader. So before we get into this though, I just want to point out that in addition to that, the High Priestess card, the Queen of Cups, and the Spirit of Place are telling me that you have a very high level of like psychic and magical abilities. You have, I just get this impression that you're not fully aware of it or even fully using it to its greater potential. So this is stuff that you're still naturally doing and people are picking up on, and they don't even have the words for it themselves. They wouldn't necessarily describe it as such. They're just like drawn to this inexplainableness about you. But because you're not aware of it, I'm trying to be like, be aware of it, use it to your advantage. I can actually get very specific. So let's talk about that. Spirit of place is so unique, and the reason why it threw me off is it talks about the ability to embody something. So like a really small example would be when somebody meditates. A lot of people who like to meditate and they're feeling kind of scattered and they want to feel grounded in their life, they will pretend they're a tree and that their roots are growing in the ground, and that's how they literally feel grounded. Well, your ability to naturally become the tree, so to speak, is actually a lot easier for you in ways other people aren't able to fully understand or take on. Like, you don't need to actually, quote unquote, have been a tree to understand it. But this extends so much further into personality traits. Like maybe you want to pretend you're confident. You can just on a whim get into that personality and persona. And this extends very far because, by the way, if you want to be an actor for whatever reason or a performer, you're definitely going to get more parts than other people because of your ability to permeate to your very core and even energy, this sort of like whatever the character you're playing compared to others because of this ability. But in addition to this, because you're able to go, okay, what does the situation need? And then change into that persona and take on those skills without, again, like instantly, you can just kind of get into this mindset without even trying. It's temporary. It's a way that you can definitely use to learn, because like once you've done it, like you're in the moment doing it, afterwards you can look back and go, oh, so that's how I can recreate that concept if I need that sort of personality trait or skill in the moment. That's like, and you learn by doing. But people admire your sort of adaptability and ease at doing things. And your adaptability and ease at doing things comes from this sort of like, okay, I'm going to take on this persona, like you're pretending you're putting on like a skin suit, so to speak, of this trait or characteristic. Hopefully this made sense. Over here, this talks about and you'll start to notice this like sort of magical, very stoic sort of, I wouldn't describe you as stoic, but you'll see what I'm saying as I like go further along. So over here, the Two of Swords does lovingly talk a little bit about stubbornness, and I say that in a really positive way, because people can depend that you will not waver when you've made the decision, and you do make decisions for the greater good. You understand the bigger picture, as we talked about, and is shown over here in the King of Swords. When you have made it, you're not going to budge, and people can feel this sort of relaxation and solidarity that you will not be wavered or tricked into pulling out of that decision. And so there's like a dependability and a trustworthiness people really like about you and are drawn to and feel like they want to be around and know that you're going to make whatever's going to happen, if that makes sense. And then continuing on for that, we talk about emotions. You're very psychically enhanced or magically enhanced through your emotions. Your ability to embody is through these feelings you can manifest without explanation. Your decision making is through feelings. Your intuition is through feelings. But when you're making a decision, you don't necessarily make it quickly, which is a good thing. People really like that when you do finally make a decision, you've made it through thinking about it, really weighing all the options and decisions. You make it based on your emotions. Are you feeling it? Are you not feeling it? There's a sort of bit of like practicality in the way you decide things mixed with this kind of like inexplainable sort of unseen emotional side of it. You know how you just know in your core, like when something is right or wrong and you just don't really have proof, you just know it and it just does happen to be correct. So people really love that when this talks about leadership qualities, when you finally are like, this is what I think you should do, or this is what we should do, or this is the decision I've made. It is the best one for a variety of reasons. It's really great. You're very smart and you're able to progress in with the least amount of errors in mind for everybody involved. The Seven of Wands does talk about sort of like how do I express this, like a taking charge sort of mentality. I love this card because this is somebody who kind of like jumps into things. Like I said, this almost implies you're very sitting back, you hang out, you're not involved. Not at all. You really do like to jump into things, make it happen. You just don't jump in and insert yourself in a sort of leadership aggression like kind of way. That's not like really your thing or your spiel. But you do like to get hands-on and make things happen. You're definitely someone who's not afraid to stick up for themselves and others. People love that about you, but you're not a confrontational person. Like, you're definitely somebody, again, when we talk about this intelligence, this insightfulness about you, you know when it's the right time to speak up. And when you do, people listen because of your carefulness to choose when to do it and when to sit back, and you understand when things need to like play out and you shouldn't be involved, so to speak. But this also does talk about a really sweet kind of hopefulness through proactiveness. So like when things are getting tough, you know, like it's better to keep going. Like you sort of give everybody this kind of like, come on guys, let's keep going. We have to keep fighting. This is like the last, kind of like in sports when people are like, oh, it's the last 2 minutes of the game. You're that person that's like, come on, let's go. Like we've got this. This is when it matters most. So really great qualities going on there. But this is when it gets really, you know, magical again and very secretive leader. So the High Priestess does talk about psychic abilities, magic, but there's a wonderful independence about her. People love that you're just so okay with being alone. You are not like somebody who feels they need to do what other people are doing. You're definitely, you're not trying to on purpose separate yourself from the crowd, but when you've made your decision, your quote unquote code, you don't feel that other people need to agree with it because you know in your heart what is the right thing to do. So like I said, there's a lot of like morals going on here, a lot of bigger pictures, a lot of like unintentionally thinking about the greater good for everyone else. Like this isn't something where I would describe you as somebody who's like actively trying to be a part of the community, but there's a subconscious desire to want good for all, if that makes sense. Like I said, she likes to be alone, magical. She has her own code. She's really cool. She's able to understand the in-betweens between quote unquote good and bad, but that idea gets extended over here in the King of Swords. This is somebody who's incredibly intelligent, insightful, because they are able to both think objectively and logically, right? And they're able to see the whole idea, like the idea as an entirety, and they're able to think and think quickly and speak up with because of their specialized skills. So we have logic and emotions both guiding you. So there's this sort of admirable quality about you, about how easy things can be when you want to embody them. But there's also this admirable quality about you of it always feels like you're guiding others while you're guiding yourself. Does that make sense? There's a sort of mystical sort of element of, the best way I can put it is you are the path. People are looking for the path. You are the path. You are the signs pointing them that way. You are the compass. Even though you're your own compass and you're trying to figure out your own stuff in life, there's just something about you that people are drawn to, that they feel like it's not just about you being a leader. It's like they just know that if they follow your insight, it's like getting back on the path. That's the best way I can put it. I know this has got to be the weirdest metaphor I've ever made, but that is the best way I can put it. So pretty cool, pretty darn cool. Well, I hope you enjoyed this reading as much as I enjoyed giving it. Please feel free to give a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Either way, have a lovely day. I will talk to you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 4. Group number 4. Let's talk about, what do people admire about you? Let's look at your cards. Your Oracle card is Strength card, upright. Your tarot cards are 9 of Pentacles, upright. Ooh, the Magician upright. This is some strong energy. I mean, strength, but I mean, still, wow. Let's see what else we have. 6 of Swords in reverse. 5 of Wands, upright. And your final card is 3 of Wands, upright. Wow. you have been through a journey, girl. You've ended out on top. I have many compliments to you that you made it, but yeah, I can see you've been through this. So, your spread's kind of unique. We are going to still be talking specifically about what people admire about you, but you'll notice a lot of it is kind of like a deeper insight on who you are and who you've become through your journey, and that along the way of you trying to make the best decisions in order to improve your life and yourself, you have in turn inspired people along the way through these actions, if that makes sense. So, where do we start? Strength card, Oracle card. This is definitely like a motif of you and what people love about you. So this is about somebody who gains their inner power through deep connections. But these connections have to be earned, because this is when you kind of push the limits and test things in order to see how well that connection stands up, to then in turn strengthen it. So this is not about, trying to start fights on purpose. This is not about on purpose trying to have confrontation. This is about putting you and your connection with others in a position where you're saying, let's ask the hard questions. Let's do it. Some people shy away from this. They don't want to know if their friend is really, flaky. They don't want to really know the truth all the time. You want to know. And in turn, what ends up happening is you end up, when that properly goes through and they do end up living up to that potential. Again, this isn't about such high standards out of judgment for others. This is because you want to have the deepest possible connection. That deep connection that you gain is what fuels your inner fire. It makes you feel the best way possible. It gives you the greatest joy in life, and it's you're not afraid of being brave and going through those things in order to receive it. It's definitely how I would describe your journey going on here. So I'm trying to think how I want to do this. So, okay, so I'll do a little bit of reverse because it's a little bit of a journey going on here. So the Three of Wands talks about how you're somebody who had some sort of goal or journey and you were like, that's what I'm going to do. Let's go for it. Let's make it happen. Let's go talk it out. Let's go start setting out in the world in order to make this happen. There's decisiveness in this card. There's a certain sense of planning in this card. There's something so admirable how kind of tunnel visioned you've been to be like, I'm going to make this happen. I don't care. I'm going to make it happen. You kind of get people questioning, do I have a goal? Should I be doing something? This is amazing. I feel like I'm a part of somebody's, like it's almost something out of like a book character, like a protagonist who's like, this is my destiny. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, wait a minute, I the side character? What's happening? Now over here, I can see in Five of Wands. Five of Wands does kind of imply there has been some sort of confrontation or something like that. And I can see by the Six of Swords over here, it's taken a while for you to get to this point of receiving, your dreams and making them happen. It's been kind of rough, and there's definitely been ups and downs for sure. But the Five of Wands is where the admiration comes in, because this talks about the unwillingness to back down. This is standing up for yourself, standing up for your beliefs. This is like being totally okay with competitiveness, because it will, in fact, in this particular case, improve you. So because you've pushed really hard against things that maybe were not the easiest to deal with, it in turn gave you all of this positive stuff over here. Again, when we talked about testing ideas, testing beliefs, and people really think that's like amazing. I mean, you're doing the stuff that most people shy away from or are just terrified to even talk about. And you're just diving into it going, the more confrontational, the better, because I know what it will equal in the end. So this is great. Going forward, we talked about how the Six of Swords talks about how long it took. It's taken a long time. But what did that all equal up to? What is that equaling now? So we've got two double, oh my gosh, I don't know how to put these. These are like very powerful, happy omen sort of cards. So if you're wondering am I going to reach my dream? Is it going to happen? Oh yeah, it's gonna happen. Especially if it's job related, you're gonna make a lot of money. It's gonna be very positive. But the Magician card says that everything you have right now is all that you need. whether you're aware of it or not. So this talks about tangible things, intangible things. It talks about a certain level of inner balance. It talks about experience, existence. This is like a really powerful ability to manifest. It's kind of like saying everything that you've gone through has equaled up to this, and it now all kind of makes sense. Like the randomness and what felt like at times like losses now equals something greater, if that makes sense. Again, we talked about how sometimes you test your friendships or situations only in turn to later then build a deeper connection or find out who do not want to be friends with anymore, just to simplify it. This talks about how it all kind of equaled up to something. And that was really beautiful. But the admiration, the admirable quality that comes in here is like, people want to be around someone like you. You just kind of are now unstoppable with what it's equaled up to. You're someone who can easily communicate ideas. This does talk a little bit about your ability to communicate via quote unquote psychic stuff. So this does talk about people who have passed on. This talks about like an intangible sort of power to get what you want, both through confidence and, like we talked about, experience. That experience kind of gets extended upon over here, which adds to the confidence, because the Nine of Pentacles is someone who's like really disciplined and super hardworking, and they have now received everything they've worked hard for. This is someone who is, this is a weird one to be admirable of, but you're totally comfortable being wealthy. Some people are very uncomfortable with it, if you can believe it or not. It's like they want more money, but then they feel ashamed of spending and buying expensive things. You're fine with it. You are totally comfortable. You are somebody who allows themselves to dream and then allows themselves to receive that dream. But people love that ability that you have to be comfortable with it. They love that you're so hardworking. They see you pick something, say, I'm going to do it. And no matter the obstacles, they're like, wow, look at them go. Look, they're just making it happen. Oh my God. And then you're just like living your best life, fully having internal happiness, these deep connections, everything you've worked hard for. You ask for it, you let yourself have it. I know that seems like such a simplistic concept, but in addition to all these beautiful things you have going on for you that people really admire, that is like a huge problem a lot of people have. So many people want the love of their life, and then they meet someone really special and then they leave them because they can't take it and they pick a worse option. Like, don't underestimate the simplicity of you just being like, oh, I'm just like really focused and living my life. What's special about that? You are deeply inspiring people along the way because you're doing something that might seem mundane to you, but is very difficult for other people. It probably was difficult for you during this journey, but trust me, you still did it in ways other people would have given up. So pretty darn cool. I'm so sorry I bumped the camera a few times. If you enjoyed this reading as much as I enjoyed giving it, please consider giving the video a like, comment, subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Either way, have a lovely day. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye!